personality. Come on up, David.
Thank you all for having me. I'm a columnist at worldnetdaily.com, and I'm a commentator on the Accent Radio Network. You can listen live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. for my commentary on the radio. A local station here that carries this is 13:30 a.m. It's great to be here. You know, I have a message for those who occupy the seats of power in Washington. I'll keep my God, my guns, and my money. And you can keep the change. You know, some in the media claim that those of us gathered here today are extremists, as if a desire to see a government that follows its own rules, a government that lives within its means, somehow makes us extreme. If that's the case, as Senator Goldwater once said, let me remind you that extremism in defense of liberty is no vice. And moderation in pursuit of justice is no virtue. You know, I was asked to speak tonight about getting people motivated to stay involved in the political atmosphere, to get involved, get involved with the elections, and I think that's great. You know, part of the reason why we're in this problem today is because we weren't involved. We weren't vigilant in protecting our freedoms. We were asleep at the wheel as people stole our liberties left and right. So with that said, I think we should be involved. But I can completely understand how people would be apathetic about being involved with the two-party system. I mean, after all, they're the ones that got us into this mess to begin with. You know, George Carlin used to say, the late comedian, used to say there's two parties in Washington. There's the stupid party and the evil party. And every now and then they get together and they do something really stupid and really evil, and we call that bipartisanship. And so I completely understand. But, you know, really the left versus right paradigm that we've been operating under for so long has served us very badly. It's really not effective. I mean, look at what the Republicans tell you. The Republicans tell you that the big boogeyman in the room, the big enemy that we must face is big government. Incidentally, every time the Republicans are in office, government gets bigger. And then the Democrats, they'll tell you that all of your problems are because of big business. Big business is the boogeyman. If we could just tax and regulate big business and clamp them down, then all of our problems will be reconciled. Well, business gets bigger every time the Democrats are in office. So whoever it is, Democrat or Republican, big business gets bigger, big government gets bigger. Nothing ever changes. It's because they've got it all wrong. Big business and big government are not an enemy with each other. They are one and the same. They're married together. It's the marriage between big business and big government interests that have gotten us into the problem we're in today. And we must address that marriage. Some recent examples of this are the recent bailouts of Wall Street. There's big government helping out their friends on Wall Street, big business, and we get stuck with the tax bill. Or let's take a look at where are all our world leaders today? They're over there in Copenhagen, right? They've left it. They're all cozied up together, snuggled, comfortable, making all their regulations and everything while we're left out in the cold. And what are they talking about? Global warming. Well, what do they want to do? They want to create a global regulatory body so that all of us can be told that if we can just control your actions, if we can control what energy you use, we can stop global catastrophe from happening. I mean, what arrogance is it that men, in their supposedly infinite wisdom, can map out the destiny of an entire world and keep us from creating global catastrophe? It's absurd. But if you peel off that layer, what do you have? Once again, you have big business. There's billions of dollars to be made if this global warming resolution passes. Billions of dollars will be handed over to corporations that are going to make a killing off of these green energy solutions. And you will be paying for it without any say in the matter. We have to stop this. Let's make sure we get rid of that Copenhagen resolution. But, you know, the Republicans are just as guilty. I mean, when they had power, what did they do? They tripled the size of the federal government. They gave us No Child Left Behind. And it's just done nothing but destroy our public schools, taking control out of the local schools and putting it into Washington. What are we doing that for? There's no reason for that. But then you have today, you have so-called conservative Republicans, and they come in here and they say, oh, we've learned our lesson. We're not going to grow government anymore. We're going to cut government spending. That sounds great, doesn't it? Well, let's cut government for once. But then you ask them, what do you want to cut? And that's where the devil creeps up. If you ask them what they want to cut, they'll tell you, well, I'm going to stop cap and trade. I'm going to stop the health care bill. Well, that's new government spending. That's additional stuff that's coming on. We're talking about the government we have right now. Are you going to cut it or not? But they won't tell you. You say, maybe if you're lucky, they'll tell you, well, I'm going to cut earmarks. I'm going to eliminate the earmarks that we have, all the pork barrel spending. And I can agree with that. I mean, who wants $50 million going to some bear in Alaska research or something? Let's cut that, sure. But if you add up all of the pork barrel spending and the entire federal budget, if you cut all of that out, you've cut less than 1% of the federal budget. Less than 1%. That's not cutting government. That's called trimming the hedges as the ship sinks.
No.
So I have another solution. I say we simply follow the Constitution. And if you look at the Constitution, it's a lot smaller than our current government. I mean, it's really simple. It's really easy to read, as the previous speaker was saying. If the Constitution doesn't say you're allowed to do something, and it is the supreme law of the land, that means you're not supposed to do it. And last time I looked, I didn't see any provision in the Constitution for a Department of Energy, for example. There's no Department of Energy allowed for in the Constitution, so remove it. Get rid of it. Let's cut it out.
Really?
After all, what are they doing? They're telling us, the EPA has now said that carbon dioxide, which is what plants use to breathe, is a pollutant. We need to regulate that because it's a danger to the earth. I mean, how ironic is it that the green movement, if they have their way, will get rid of all the green on earth? I mean, it's ridiculous. So let's get rid of the Department of Energy. And how about the Department of Education? Get rid of that. There's no federal mandate for the government to be regulating and telling us how we're going to educate our children.
Yay.
So, you can get rid of that, and how about, we spend hundreds of billions of dollars sending it to overseas, to governments that don't even share our values. Hundreds of billions of dollars on stimulus packages to help other countries. Let me ask you something. We don't believe in stimulus packages when they're in our country, right? We don't like those, right? What makes us think that they're going to work if we give them to people that don't even share our same values? I mean, it's absurd, especially when we're in a recession. What are we doing? We're in a recession. We're giving hundreds of billions of dollars to countries that don't even care about us. They don't like us. They want to bomb us and attack us whenever we go over there. I say we bring the troops home from those countries where they don't need to be, and we save that money and bring them and spend that money back over here so they can have a Christmas with their families. And so there's so much to cut, but what were the Republicans, the conservative Republicans, because I'm a Republican myself, I have to admit, unfortunately, but what will the conservative Republicans tell you in response to what I just said, that we follow the Constitution, that we actually get rid of entire departments that are unconstitutional? They'll tell you, that's unrealistic. It doesn't work. See, obviously, I'm just a naive young individual because I haven't been up there in the halls of power. I haven't been washed down and cleansed in the blood of this Washington, D.C. So I don't understand their logic. So it's not realistic to actually want to cut entire departments anymore, right? Well, the only thing I have to say is the only thing not realistic is the idea that we can keep those departments and continue on the path we are and not experience bankruptcy. That's the only thing unrealistic. They're living in a pie-in-the-sky dream world if they think they can maintain the current scope and size of our federal government and not experience bankruptcy. So we must send that message loud and clear to Washington.
Did Marco already speak?
Yeah, Marco.
I just got it. Just Marco.
Oh, you just...
Yeah, okay.
Ultimately, though, our problems are not going to be solved politically.
He only spoke for about...
There are no political solutions to the mess we're in today. No matter what politicians want to tell you today, they have great things, and it's great. We want to applaud certain measures in the halls of government. But ultimately, our problems did not start in the government. They started with us. You see, bad government is simply a reflection of a bad culture. And what we have to do is realize that if we want to fix things, it doesn't start from the top down. It starts from the bottom up. And I would wager to say to you that the most